here and participating. I just want to say that I don't lecture, so I just like people. I like to talk to people. So it's like lecturing is not for me. Sometimes I get carried away. Sometimes I do talk to people. But I don't. I would rather just talk to you individually as a person and just kind of basically. We are going to do questions here, but also feel free to come up to me and talk to me too. So it's all good. Please don't feel pressured. I'm pretty easygoing like that.
He really is.
That's right. That's right. And Barbara Nancy is my like main cheerleader. I'm so thankful for her. She is.
Jenny, I got a question. I thought when you have something like this, it has to be in a frame. And I see your canvas is just up there with no frame.
Good point, Regina.
Okay. Well, I brought
Why
some
just a
frames,
frame?
right? I brought a few frames, but I'm also like, and don't quote me on this, but I'm very unprofessional. I'm very punk rock, Like I don't give a crap about people's expectations. Mark, don't listen to this. Because this is my boss here. But anyways, Bob, it's not for you. I'm not talking to you. I don't give a crap about society expectations, how I should look, what I should feel, how I should think. Okay? And I work with a few galleries that
I'm sorry.
represent me. They're framing galleries. And we always have our
Isn't
plan.
that in?
So no worries. If you have something to say, you don't have to have a pretty frame around it. Just say it. No big deal. Just do it.
Put it in there.
Okay? Just say what you got to say. This is one of my frame cases. This is called Sadness Neatly Framed. Okay? So some things we do frame.
Yeah, thanks.
In a nice little box around it. And sometimes there's a purpose for it. So it's a good question, Regina. Good job. Good job. So the whole thing is that here,
We thought we cleaned
this
it up.
question
We
is
have to
really
clean it
good
up.
because it brings us to this whole show. And my own sort of a passion with art, right, with people in general, is I'm always interested on the surface, right? And what is surface, right? The surface, under face, wherever, right? Under the mask, right? We got this everyday mask of what we project out there, the stories that we tell out there. But there's always something underneath. There's always something deeper, more interesting, because again, we are individuals filled with stories, filled with beauty, inspiration, horror, terror, you name it, anxieties. And they're all individual stories, okay? They're all things happening under that surface. And that is what I'm trying to do here, in a sense, a look a little bit deeper at this wonderful, beautiful individual. Even in moments of sadness, in moments of despair, you name it, right? Individual that is evolving, growing, developing, transforming, like this beautiful butterfly here, out of all this, out of all this craziness of this world that we get bombarded with all this horrible news stuff and stuff, this poison cocoon, right? Just sometimes it feels like I want to just rip it off of me and just be free and just be me, be transformed into this beautiful butterfly. Just take this, journey. So again, we're beautiful individuals living, transforming, changing, all in this beautiful moment that we're given. So that's kind of what this show is all about those individuals who are able to do that, right? About the individuals who are, able to be the beautiful sky in the moment of this destructive tornado, right? Again, this is kind of like the moment of it, right? Who you are living now in this moment of your life. And these are all, basically all real people, the stories of whom I've been telling and I've been inspired by, mainly, because to me, like, that's the real joy of it, is to have that story told in a sort of a way that it looks presentable and you can follow the narrative of it. So like, that's, for me, is always the challenge, but always the joy as well. And we are gonna just open it up to talk, so just feel free to ask me anything. There's a little bit of time, but then also if you wanna talk in person too, that's fine too, after we do this. So I saw that hand first.
Hi, do people tell you their stories, the individuals, do they tell you their stories and then this is how you interpret what they have told you?
I'm sorry, if you can say your name first.
Sure, Jillian.
Jillian, okay. Sometimes they do, yes, sometimes I have questions, but a lot of the times I'm just sort of fascinated by a person. I look at them, I talk to them, and it's just kind of a natural process. You know, I'm kind of weird, I see people's light, you know, I see people's energy, you know, kind of like, I see how they walk, they talk, so that's really interesting for me too, because I want to appreciate and notice and discover their individuality and kind of be in that context. So it kind of can go both ways. Yep. All right, lady over there?
My name is Barbara, and I have a million questions, but I'll narrow it down to, number one, where are you from? Did you study, or are you self-taught? And the other thing is, a lot of the bottoms of the pictures, when I first glanced at it, it reminded me of that we're building on the past. A lot of these, it appears to be dead bodies, or are you trying to show that we're building on the past?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, again, the dead bodies, as you call
Yeah, that's
as you call them, right? I mean, some of them are pretty serious pieces of like depression and things like that. You know, the kind of the paths that we take. Some of us, like in this piece, you know, some of us go to commune with the dead faces of the past, which is depression. That's what depression is about. And you live in the past with things, you know, events, places, people who are dead. They cannot help you right now. You know, everything is in the past, right? So some people, that's where they dwell. You know, so yes, I mean, it could be those dead bodies. It could be anxiety, mass of anxiety as it is, always just buzzing around you as this huge cloud, can be those dead bodies too, right? Because, you know, they're something that's very unproductive but so heavy, kind of just pulling you down wherever you are, where you're trying to climb out of the hole. They're the ones who are pulling you down. So yeah, I mean, there is that aspect, but again, to me, the scarier thing, right? And I mean, the dead bodies is a good way to categorize it, but the mass, right, to me is what's real scary. The mass can be anything. The mass can be, you know, all those Republicans or Democrats, you know, because again, I'm punk rock, like I hate them equally, you know. So that's why I'm on the outside, because you know, I love being with people as a person. They see a crowd. That's who they see. They see this mass of dead bodies that they're gonna use. They're gonna get something out. Like, I don't like that. I like you as a person, as an individual, full of dreams and beauty. You know, they don't. They want you to be this or that. So, again, that's my political rant, but okay. So anyway, that's just me. And you know, but I do get along with people. I love people, and I love people who are interested. So again, crowd is the scariest thing for me, right? Because crowds drag you to places where you do not want to be. In a crowd, you're no longer an individual. Okay, so dead bodies might be a good way to put it. You know, I don't know. I mean, again, I love your stories better than I love mine. So, like, when you come up, when you see something in my pieces, I'm like, oh, that's great. That's a good way to put it. Yep. Yep. Is that good?
Yeah, also, where were you from, and
Oh,
did you study?
I was born and pretty much raised in Russia. I came here for college, so came in pretty young, and lived here my whole life, you know, basically. So that was kind of and my professional career was a lot different than art, but it did deal with people. So I always worked in psych field, was a family therapist for 11 years, and before that, I just worked with kids in therapy. So, so it still deals with people with interesting, beautiful moments in their lives, but also with a lot of crisis and chaos too. So,
I can wait, that's okay.
Rachel?
All right, so is there a reason you use specific colors? Because I see a lot of like kind of repeating colors with those blues and the purples against the kind of darker neutrals like the tans and the reds. Is there like a reason that you decided to use those with certain ones?
Some just are nice colors.
Yeah.
I mean, like I love the universe within, you know, kind of a concept. So it's just I thought, wow, hey, wouldn't that be cool if the universe was like that, swirling colors of that, or of that, or you know. So it just some of it is just they come up as colors that sometimes I just love certain colors too. Like I mean I love the aqua colors and I use them just inappropriately sometimes, but like you know. And just, again, the contrasting worlds, right, too, they give you a new layer to the narrative. So, like, if you contrast certain colors, then you see that, wait a minute, there's two worlds, there's some kind of duality, there's double, you know, those two worlds, that what is happening? You know, what is this person trying to come over from this to that? So there's that interaction, too, of the contrasting colors, which is, you know, in the real world, right, we call it, I don't know, that can be fun too, right? The two forces when they flow together, two contrasting forces. It can be chaos, it can be destructive, but it can also be a lot of fun. So I like that. I like that complexity of the story.
Thank you.
Angela?
My name's Angela. So you have a very unique and eclectic style that isn't really seen everywhere. So how did you evolve that this is the way you present your stories and your thoughts and the emotion that you want to? How did this go from being drawings or stick figures to what it is today?
Well, I think we talked a little bit about it. Some of it is the power of frustration, right? Because like when you can't do something right, you just get angry, frustrated, you like, you know, and you just keep plugging at it, keep doing it, you know. But some of it is also fun, right? You just have a good time too. And I mean, I love exploring stuff. I love just kind of groping in the dark until I find something fun and like, oh wait a minute, like what happened here? So like for instance, I'm glad that I didn't study it, you know, personally. I know that art schools are great. Like I worked for one, I promote it, so I know that it's great. But I didn't study it for my own reasons. I'm happy that I haven't, because I'm happy that I went stumbling in the dark. I went stumbling in the dark and falling down, and I found certain elements, certain colors. I picked up certain shapes, forms, that I was like, oh, wait a minute, like, this could be cool. Like, what am I gonna do with this? Like, this whole carving started for me, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, 20 years ago. I was like, wouldn't that be cool if you can like touch the wind, or if you can touch somebody's anger, or if it, you know, or if this face was carved in or carved out, you know, it gives you a new direction to follow. Like it gives you a new way to go explore the narrative, right? That sort of is absent from your regular paintings. So when you see that, you're like, well, what does that mean? Why is it tacked up? Why is it coming out? Why is this shape coming out and this one is inverted and kind of in the hole in there? What's happening? So again, like those kind of questions, which questions are great. Questions are the best. So, but the questions is what gets you on that journey. Answers is useless. Like you don't want answers, you want questions. Because questions get you digging deeper, questions get you going, get your blood up, get your passions boiling. So that's what it's all about. And you're like, okay, where do I go from here in this dark, right? And you see a little bit of light and you're like, okay, what if I head over towards there? In the process, you break a leg, you know, break a bone, you know, and you get half eaten by something in the dark. But you get there and you're like, okay, you know, now it's a journey. Now I'm somewhere. Now it's meaningful. So, and then that's what it's all about. You find your own ways to function, to paint, to create something that is a lot different because it's your own journey. it's your own individual path, right? You don't wanna be painting, drawing like somebody else. You wanna be, continue being you. So is that okay? Is that good?
I like
Is
it.
that all right? Okay, Jan, I think Jan was.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say, I remember you wanted us to do something about pain, and you were describing how when you shower and you have really bad pain,
Oh, yeah.
how it all goes down the drain. And I can actually see it in that picture there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this piece, it doesn't have to be about pain, but it's one of those contemplative pieces that yes, I like sometimes, like I'm too high strung up, but I try to be kind of a calm, and I try to meditate and all those things. So anyways, I do visual guided meditations like this, where I sort of imagine this beautiful, beautiful water, just because I love water, is just sort of coming down on me and washing away whatever it is that's bugging me at the moment, whether it's some persistent thoughts or ideas, or whether it's pain, you name it. It's just sort of like coming down on me, and just this beautiful water, just sort of washing all that stuff off of me. Like in this piece, it's a little bit different because it's colors, but again, colors can represent anything individually that you have. It's just that I like the process of that meditation, just sort of just standing there, nice and relaxed, and just nice, beautiful water, just rejuvenating or taking that off of me. So whatever it is. But yes, we do talk a good bit about meditating and, well, just guided imagery, just the images in your mind there and seeing those beautiful things. Kind of seeing yourself grow out of pain or just get relieved with that. Yes.
Hi, I'm Bree. One of the pieces I was most curious about was the Beast of Burden. I know that you say that most of your artwork is inspired by other people's stories. I was
Yes.
just curious as to where that came from.
Well, that just crawled out of the depths of, out of the dark corners of the psyche, I suppose. It's just sometimes, whatever it is, right? We all have some kind of beast of burden that we have to carry. And it's just like sometimes feels like the king of it or like the queen of it, as we're carrying it. But I don't really, sometimes it grows too. Sometimes just this little flea lands on you, right? Just, you don't even notice it. But then you feed it, right? Whatever it is, whether it's anxiety or bad thoughts, whatever it is, it just feeds and feeds. And then it becomes this creature, right? This beast that is just like, got you bent over and it needs to eat more and more and more. So sometimes it walks into your life. Like I know that a lot of people, when they're affected by a sudden loss or something, yes, it can walk into this huge beast into your life. But sometimes it walks in as a butterfly, right? It just floats and just kind of pirouettes onto your back and lands on you, and then it starts feeding on whatever it wants, right? So I think that, again, it's kind of a universal concept, but for each one of us, it's different in their lives, how we encounter and who we encounter, right? Kind of like what happens. A lot of my work, I've dealt with people who had addictions, like severe addictions and things like that, severe depression, mental health, and of course, severe physical pain as well. So, you take a pick. There's so many things out there that are constantly trying to get at you.
What made you decide to stop being a therapist, which probably is a pretty safe thing, and do this?
Health stuff, health issues. So I couldn't do normal life anymore. I was not allowed by my health, by my health problems. So I didn't do it. And, like, it comes a point where you have to make a decision, in a sense, you know. But yeah, I mean, I can still, technically I can still be, because I can work part-time, but at this point, I'm just too deep into the, you know, too deep into the art stuff, into the riot, the rage, you know, the beauty, the passion, that it's, you know, it also gets you where you can't leave, so. But I'd like to think that I have a choice too, and that maybe someday I'll go back. I don't know. Yep, good.
Carlise, I'm
What is
interested
that, sorry?
in Carlise.
Carlise.
Pretend you have a car and you want to leave.
Carly.
Okay, so, I'm interested in your shirt. So how did you decide to put that on that type of a canvas versus?
It's a woman's movement shirt, you know, like in the 90s, the feminist, it was all about rage, right? The words that they used was rage, right? And so I'm just, you know, in that still movement. Because,
Okay, so I'm curious, does it go all the way down?
no. I just write in my heart, you know, somewhere here, I don't know. It just, you know, it just lights up, and I just write for a while, and then I just crash. All right. We good? If we're good, we can just resume whatever we were doing, just talk to each other, meet those beautiful people, you know, all